Peggy, this is your November 2012 video lesson in La Quinta. Um, you can see your posture is a little more upright. Adam Scott is a little more bent over. It just cleans up the body angles. See his shaft line, this yellow line here? It's about 90 degrees to his spine angle, or his spine. Your shaft line is a little upright and not 90 degrees to your spine. So you could clean up your body angles by actually leaning a little more over the ball from the hip. That'll help things. And see how this shaft is kind of in line with your forearm? That to me suggests that maybe the handle of the club is too much up your palm and should be more in your fingers. If it's more in your fingers, you'll have a angle like this. But it's not causing you any great trauma. It just makes it easier with if your body lines are kind of 90 degrees and kind of squared off. But other than that, I mean, this swing is really good. There's more things right with a swing than there are areas that need to be refined. So obviously it's a good swing. So the takeaway, you drag it a bit inside here. See, with Adams, you want to be right here. So he's all on plane, and you can see it's toe up here. You've broken the plane. Now that's an unneeded movement. Now you have to move it back to a yellow line. See, your swing plane is any line parallel to the yellow lines. This shaft is not parallel to any of the yellow lines. So that's an unneeded movement, and it's hard to time. So there's an unneeded movement here. Now you're a good athlete. So now, right there, you put it back on plane. See that? But the club it was moved like a foot and a half out of plane, then another foot and a half into plane. And it makes it very difficult to time. Sometimes you put it further out of plane, and other times you don't correct enough, and that's where the inconsistency comes from. I mean, that's the essence of the swing. The swing is pretty doggone good. So let's get to the top here. And you get a little cross. Now, see how this elbow is sticking out behind you? Now look at Adams. See, with a shadow and all, it's actually sticking out of the screen, if you will. It's not behind you. Now the magic is you've got to get this elbow. So you'd be better off keeping at this point, keep your hands in front of your chest like Adam. You get your elbow and hands kind of behind you. Okay. You get kind of this move too. So if that elbow sticks more out of the screen and is kind of in front of your body, see how Adams is in front of his body? Yours is back here. And the magic is that elbow has to go from that position back to your belt buckle. And if it's behind you, then it takes like 30% longer for it to get down. Now with Adams, see, his elbow is here. Now he just basically drops it in. Now it's right on his belly, right close to his belt buckle. When you start down, we're taking some time getting it to there. That causes some problems. Okay, but nothing major. I mean, I'm talking about if you wanna get to scratch or a single digit, low single digit, you need to fix that elbow. And if you want to get more consistent, you fix the early movement. Now, the only other thing that needs to be refined is, see at impact, we only see one hip pocket. With Adam Scott, I call this the double cheek thing. cheek number one, cheek number two at impact. What that means is the hip's cleared, and now he can chase it. So if you can clear your hips, and I think you got the flexibility to do that, if you look like, if your lower body looks like that at impact, you've got, you've now shaved off like 7 strokes. You'll gain distance, control, and consistency by getting your hips going in the proper direction. But other than that, the swing looks good. I mean, it's all kind of on plane, and you're doing a nice job here. Let's look at the other dimension. This will accentuate the lower body. Okay, so this is the top of the swing, and see, there's a bit of a sway. Whoops, sorry. Let's get this. Okay. So you can see kind of the weight shifting. See the knee kind of shifting to your right, and it's kind of getting out, and that foot is kind of rolling over on the outside. And this angle is straight up, or actually bending back away from the target. This is a good angle here. Good turn. How can you see with the hair? That's actually an interesting concept, because with your head rotated, you can only see out of your left eye, and then your hair is kind of covering the eye. Kind of interesting. Okay, so this angle is good. Now look at Adam Scott when he gets to the top. We can't get there, but we can get here. See how this angle is bent more towards the target? You have as good a turn as him, but you've kind of slid off of it. Now, sliding off of it means that you really have to be active with the lower body, and that's an area you need to refine. It's not very active at all. For example, as you, oops, as you start your downswing, your knee hardly moves off that. So your hands are belt high, and there's maybe a half inch. Look at Adam Scott's. When his hands are belt high, he's off at like 6 inches. Right? So he started the lower body earlier. That's the difference between a 14 and a 4. And at impact, he's off at maybe a foot. At impact, you're off at maybe hardly at all. See, you haven't really caved that knee in. That's off at maybe 2 inches. He's off of it. See how he's caved that right knee in towards the ball, towards the target. That would be a good thing to model. I'll give you a hard copy of this shot, and if you just model that. So, and then you don't really get off it and, you know, dive in until later. That's where you want to get you at. See how he turns that hips easily through there. Now back to the good parts is, given you really haven't started this with the lower body, which should start things, is you release the right side, and you get in a pretty good spot right here with his right arm. You know, nice straight position, and it looks like the left arm's position too. That's pretty good. Yeah. So I'll just let this thing run through. This is slow motion, obviously. Okay. Now, watch how Scott really pushes off from the from the right leg That's what starts the, see that push? Boom. It's almost like he's hitting the ball with his right knee, because as the club gets down, his right knee kind of relaxes. See that? Releases towards the target. All the elite players have that. And that's one of the few things that you could improve. Like I say, if there's like 12 components in the swing, you've got 10 really good. So you don't have to add anything. You just remove some of the moving parts and remove the sway and start the lower body just a little earlier. That's it.